I want to thank everybody for coming today. Coming off a bye week, it's really good to go into a bye week with a win. But now we're turning our attentions to Coastal Carolina, and 16 days in between games. It's important that with our football team we've been staying consistent, trying to improve in the areas we want to improve, and get in a rhythm. That's what we want to try to do. Starting this week is make sure that we get our football team into a rhythm. So we were able to work on fundamentals last week, able to work on competition, and also get in some opponent work. And looking forward to getting back out there, looking forward to being back in Paulson and the power of Paulson and Eagle Nation being around and playing a home game. So excited about this week and ready to go.
Coach, I know during the off weeks we had an injury update to a couple guys. I also know we've been without Jacob Cooper. We've seen a couple guys out past couple weeks. What's the status of some of these injuries? Were you able to get some guys, some rest and get healthy over the break?
That's what's always good about a bye week is being able to do that. Guys that's got bumps and bruises and things that kind of come along with football. Unfortunately, Jacob Cooper has been medically disqualified. He had a concussion, and it was just something that he was not going to be able to continue to play. So he will no longer be with us. He is going to help as a student coach for us. We will definitely miss him. Logan Wright got hurt in this last game, hurt his neck. Really can't go into a lot of details, but right now he's a 4 to 6 weeks and be reevaluated at that time, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Monquavian Brinson, he was another guy that went down in the game. He's day-to-day. I'm expecting him to practice tomorrow. Has not practiced since the last game, but I do expect him to practice tomorrow. We've been bit by the injury bug this year. We've got a few injuries and got some guys that's been out, for the season, which obviously hurts depth. But that's the one thing about being a Georgia Southern man and being a Georgia Southern football player. We always talk about next man up and being ready. So I got full faith in our guys, and I know they'll do a great job with it.
Coach, first off, Matt Roach, what's his status?
Matt is fine. Practiced all last week and is ready to go.
And you mentioned the time off. You've had a long time between the last game and this upcoming game. Did you try to install anything or do anything offensively that you saw people were maybe getting used to out there, or spicing it up? I'm not sure, working on the red zone offense, that kind of stuff.
I think the biggest thing that's important for our offense is that we're getting into a rhythm. That is something we haven't done. We talk about JT. JT did a good job when he filled in for Shy, but not having your starting quarterback, sometimes that slows the progress of what you're going to do on offense. When you get Shy back, then that would you're able to expand a little bit. Obviously, not having Wesley Kennedy for the first 4 games, that took a little bit away from us. So, now that Shy's back full time, Wesley Kennedy's back full time, that allows us to do more things. Obviously, we do continue to grow the package as we go. I don't think it's the right thing to say exactly what we're going to do. Obviously, don't want to give anything away, but we are continuing to install things. We're continuing to grow our packages and make sure that we're ready when we get in those situations of the red zone, that we can do more about scoring touchdowns and not just field goals.
Coach, you may have kind of just answered part of my question, but when you have a guy like a Logan Wright go down where you don't have someone who has that exact same skill set, is it something where you plug in someone and ask them to pick up that slack, find a way to do the same things, or do you maybe focus a little bit on other guys who can contribute and ask more of them?
Well, I think when you watch us this year, if you watch that last game and you really look at the statistics, and if you were not to look at the scoreboard, you'd probably say that it was a pretty decisive win by Georgia Southern. But it wasn't. The encouraging part was as we watched guys continue to get better at what we were trying to do. So to answer your question, yes, losing Logan Wright, that hurts. That guy's a leader. That's a guy that's put in a lot of time for us. But you also, if you watch J.D. King, I think J.D. King's getting better each and every game. I think J.D. King's a guy that can step up and really fill that role. I think J.D. King is a back that gets more carries, he gets better as the game goes on. So obviously with this injury, I think that gives him that opportunity. Obviously, though, with Logan going down, we got to make sure that we've got our right depth at running back. And so, we're really looking hard at Jared Daniels, and we're really looking hard at Gerald Green, and, seeing what those guys can do for us. So you may see a new spice to it as far as who's running the football. But J.D. King's the guy that we're going to try to get going in Logan's place.
Coach, those struggles offensively that we've talked about here, you mentioned the injuries and all that. Is there also, what's the execution problem? Is that something that can be corrected, or is it just having to play better?
I think when you ask about execution, I think it's a lot about gelling as a unit and being cohesive. Two very good ball players last year in Curtis Rainey and Jeremiah Culberth off the offensive line. Losing them and their experience, we had to have some people come in and, really step up there. And guys are trying to do that, and they're working hard to do that. But then when you lose a Brian Miller and you lose a Jacob Cooper, guys that also have experience, that's more guys now with experience that is gone. And so we got a lot of young guys playing that maybe haven't been in those situations yet. I think the big part with offense, in my opinion, is just us finally gelling and coming together and being a cohesive unit. We're working hard on that. We're working hard to look at what our strengths are. I think it's very important. It's easy to point out weaknesses and say, well, we're not very good at this, and we got to get better at that. Okay, yeah, I'm with you, but let's also focus on the strengths, and let's put our guys in a situation to be successful. So I think that's what a lot of this bye week's been about, is how can we put the guys we're playing with in the best situation to make plays for us.
Coach, moving past the other games, what is your initial impressions of Coastal Carolina, and who on the offense and on the defense side of the ball impresses you?
When you look at Coastal, you start thinking about stuff that's kind of similar to us. You start looking at their offense, and they're a gap scheme that runs triple option off of it, and really like the belly G play. They're a physical running attack. They do run the football, but they also can hit you with the pass game too. When you start, they play two quarterbacks, so you got to be dialed in on which quarterback's in there and trying to figure out what he does best and what the other one does best. Number one at running back, he's definitely a guy that we've got to make sure that we're ready for and ready to stop. When you start talking about their defense, lots of times when you look at teams and you go from last year to this year, because you're still early in this year, where last year's games are relevant to seeing how they have improved. You've really seen their defensive stats improve from last year to this year. Number 34 of the linebacker, he shows up a lot on film. Number 9, defensive end, he's really a good football player too. So definitely a lot of respect for Coastal Carolina as we go into this game.
Coach, Saturday, it's a big game, as they all are, but also going to be Military Appreciation Day. And how important is it, for this Georgia Southern program and the university to make sure we thank the people who serve and protect us?
Well, you can't put a price on what they do. We get caught up in football every day, and football's our life, and and that's what we do. But when you start talking about people that really risk their lives for us to play this game, and the freedom that we're given because they fight for us, that's invaluable. And anytime, I wish all games could be Military Appreciation, because, that's definitely what America's about, and having the opportunity to be free and to be able to just enjoy the things that we enjoy in life, So you can't push that away and say that that's not important.
Coach, a lot of other teams, when they get asked about Georgia Southern on game week, they'll bring up that you guys run a unique offense. It's tough to prepare for, especially in 1 week. Now you're playing a team that does do a lot of similar things. What's your philosophy, or maybe Coach DeBest's philosophy, when you face a team that gets a better look from guys who fit in better with the offense in practice? versus doing what you do best and trying to force your will versus maybe changing things up because that defense might know a little bit more about what to expect?
I think if you start trying to do something that you're not, you're going to get in trouble. So we got to continue to get better at what we do, and we're not going to back away from that. I think it is a total mistake to say I'm just going to change everything we do just because this team does some similar stuff. We've got to get better at what we do. We got to get in sync. We got to get cohesive on offense. Things are starting to click. Scoreboard hasn't shown that yet, but I do expect for us to look better than we've looked previous games because we are getting better at what we do.